Hello, welcome back to Chrisley Travel Channel, all my fellow friends and travelers and photographers around the world. I shall begin my journey and resume the journey to northern Pakistan in this episode number 6. And welcome back. And today we'll be looking at some very interesting places, and of course for those who with me for the first time, they look at this map of Pakistan, and we are basically cover the topmost section of Pakistan. So in more precise term, in terms of location exactly where we are covering, you can see the white dot circle. We are actually in that regions of Pakistan. And from the color of this topography map, you will expect to have most of the time the journey on a high altitude area of at least 2,000 meters above sea level. And we are really, in the past 5 episodes, what I have actually shared with you are still not exactly fall under the Hunza Valley. But in this journey, in this episode, we are actually going to the Hunza Valley, which most people have been told and been shared in the websites or even the Facebooks. So let's look at what actually Hunza Valley is all about. And before we begin with Hunza Valley, let's have some understanding of the background of this Hunza Valley. So we'll be actually traveling within the blue circle area, and we are not going far. And if you look at the maps in this case, right, this is actually the map showing the province of Gilgit-Baltistan, and they have been divided into small districts that they call it Textile, right? And we are actually covering the upper section, or also the northernmost sections of this Gilgit-Baltistan province, and they are naming this as a Hunza Naga. So let's move a bit on the background of this Hunza Valley. Now, along the ancient Silk Road journey to the land of culture and adventures, and the famous Shangri-La in the Jim Hilton Lost Horizons, a land of peace and plenty of people, where people never age. Now, Eric Shipton's, the famous explorer, describes the view from the Hunza Valley as the ultimate manifestations of mountain grandeur. Now, the legendary Silk Roads, now known as the Karakoram Highway, or in short KKH, that run along the famous mountain range Karakoram Range, which has a large proportion run through Pakistan. Now, has footprint of great travelers like Marco Polo's and the troop of Alexander of Macedonia, Buddhist pilgrims, and also the Baburs, right? And the descendant of Genghis Khan, as well as the first king of the great Maha dynasty of subcontinentals, which ruled India and Pakistan for a period of time. So, and in the Gilgit-Baltistan of Pakistan, Hunza Valley, it's been surrounded by many and most picturesque mountains on earth, and with so many habitats and villages around its foothills. And Hunza Valley is being regarded, right, as the paradise for trekkers, mountaineers, photographers, and also nature lover. So Hunza Valley is divided in 3 zones, as can be seen in this map. And the lower zone, they call it the Shina, and the central, they call it Burusha, as well as the upper, they call Goja regions. Of the 3 zones, the valley of Upper Hunza, or the Goja, offer the best view of the snow-capped mountains. Now, several high peaks raise above 6,000 meters, or approximately 20,000 feet, right, in the surrounding of Hunza Valley. The valley provides spectacular view of some of the most beautiful and magnificent mountains of the world, which include the Rakaposhi, which is about 7,788 meters in height, Ultar Sar, which is 7,388 meters, and Bojahagur Duanasir II, which also 7,329 meters, and many more peaks just surrounding it. Alright, so what we're going to share with you today, we'll be trying to cover as much as possible, including the subsequent episodes of my travelogues on this Hunza Valley, which cover mainly from the middle Hunza all the way to the upper Hunza. So Hunza Valley is also the host to the ancient watchtower in the Ganesh village, as well as the Baltic Fort and RT Forts. Watchtower are located in heart of Ganesh Valley village, in this case, and Baltic Fort stand on top of the Karimabad, whereas the Alti Forts lie at the bottom of the valley in a town called Altic Town. So 900 years old, the Ultar Fort also found in this area overlooking the village of Gilgit and make a fine vantage point to view over the 6,000 meter above peaks on a clear days. Now the spectacular sight of mountain and valley, in the range of 120 kilometers give the feeling of a dream coming true, as if witnessing the great open museum of mountains. All the great mountains in the world, you can find plenty over here. So if you look at this map again, you will notice that there's some important town beside the Gilgit. They also another called Gilgit. And just to share with you about Gilgit itself. Now Gilgit is the capital of Upper Hunza Valley. It's the only town in the world that where you can view 5 peaks over 6,000 meters, in all 4 directions, And on the climates of the Hunza, which some of you may be interested, that the temperature in May have a maximum about 27 degrees Celsius and in a minimum about 14 degrees Celsius, quite comfortable. And the Octobers have a maximum of 10 degrees Celsius and the minimum is -10. Then in this case, you can see even in the month of October, we still fall under the autumns and not even the late autumn as yet. The temperature and night have gone far below 0 freezing point. So Hunza tourist season, the most people who visit Hunza Valley are generally during the months of May till the month of October, and because in the winter the Karakoram highway is often blocked by the snow. At the same time, most of the people who visit Hunza are mountaineer or trekkers, and therefore they can't afford to be trekking in the snow-covered mountains unless unavoidable. So you can see that most of the people visiting there are during the summer, where the temperature is still quite cooling because of the high altitudes in these regions. So these are just a scene of the Hunza Valley, and it's where we have put several nights at this Karimabad regions. And this from now on, I'm going to share with you quite a fair bit of the pictures of scenery taken around this area. So Karimabad is actually an important stopover in Hunza Valley, and is also, as I mentioned earlier, is a capital of this small, tehsil or a district in the Gilgit-Baltistan area. And it's for this reason, the place that we stay is really excellent for taking scenery shots. But I'm going to share with you more about it in my picture coming along. So let's look at this map itself. This map will show you the locations of the central Hunza, and the area where you color in blue is where the Karimabad is located, and on the south of it you can see there are river, and this river is the Hunza River, right? And that locations that are highlighted here, the Karimabad, as I mentioned earlier, is the perfect spot for enjoying the picturesque mountain scenery at 4 directions. Now, Karimabad, formerly known as Baltics, is the capital of Hunza district in the Gilgit-Baltistan province of Pakistan. All right. And article on the Guardians ranked it as one of the best tourist sites in Pakistan. Now, Karimabad town, located on the west bank of the Hunza River, is in the northern area of the Pakistan in a valley popularly known as the Hunza Valley. Remember, I told you just now, the last 5 episodes, we are actually not covering Hunza Valley. Our journey in Hunza Valley begins today. Now, the Hunza Valley is a mountainous valley in the northern part of Gilgit-Baltistan province of Pakistan, and is formed by Hunza River, bordering as its comments to the northwest, Singar to the southeast, and Afghanistan in the northern region, and the Xinjiang province of China to the northeast of the Pakistan. So Hunza Valley is being regarded as the land of apricots, orchards, peaches, apples, mulberry, walnuts, and grapes. And the glacier stream and thunder down from the district peaks and sizzling through the forest and poplar. In other words, you expect to see also quite a number of glaciers around these regions when you visit this middle Hunza Valley. Now, the Hunza Valley and its surrounding is situated in elevations of about 2,500 meters. We mentioned just now in the introductions that in this region we are actually covering most of the area of 2,000 meters and above. And for many centuries, Hunza has provided the quickest access to Swat and Gandhara for a person travel on foot. And the roads was impassable to baggage animals. Only human porters could get through, and then only with the permission from the local. And today, Hunza Valley could be reached in a comfortable way by winding Karakoram Highway. We had thanks to this Karakoram Highway that opened up us to visit this Hunza Valley was one is separated and isolated from the rest of the world. Now, Karimabad town in Hunza Valley is made up of stone-walled, steep-sloping large terraces. The town was a caravan halting place for people who were traveling through the Hindu Kush mountain to the Vale of Kashmir, which means that it's to India on the eastern side of Pakistan. It is set amidst snow-clad mountain peaks, Rakaposhi, which also I will share with you later on some of the images taken on these beautiful mountain peaks with an altitude of 7,600 meters above sea level. And the glacier like the Ultar Sar glacier as a backdrops, and also the Deep Gorge. Right? So these are all the beautiful scenery you are expected to come across in this region. Across is by hill roads from the Gilgit, the landmark around the town are the Baltic forts, right? And also the Queen Victoria's monuments, water canal walks, and also the snow-capped mountain of Rakaposhi and the glacier of Ultar Sar. And all these are part and parcel of your travel itinerary if it allows sufficient time in this part of the world. So now we are moving on in a map here, and you can see these are images actually taken from the rooftop of my hotels, and it's just one of the directions. And you can see that these are the picture taken from all other directions during the early morning. Our visit happened to be during the autumns and about October's, mid-October's, but yet you can see that it is not to the peak of the autumn, and therefore some of the trees still retain its greenery, and as such some of the trees are turning to yellowish and golden leaf color. And we will then have an opportunity to snow and leisure walk along an old shopping street, which is just right below the Baltic Fort, which after our visit we are giving a couple of hours to just explore the old street below the Baltic Fort. And these are the scene of this is the street scene. It's a very straight single street and walking from end to end, and you can find a lot of dry fruits and as well as handicraft souvenir. And because this area is a tourist spot, I have to say, because it's just right below the Baltic Fort. So these are some products or goods you can bring back as a souvenir for most tourists. And of course, they also produce a lot of fruit jams, like shown in these pictures. And we happen to be, while our visit, we have come across this parade, and so this parade, in fact, are all the schoolgirls from the nearby school, and it was actually the day we named it as a World Mental Health Day. And the lady on the street, I think is just to tell that they need to be also well taken care of, because I think the stretch to the sexes, lady sexes, female sexes in this part of the world can be quite challenging, because in certain part of the Pakistan that due to the religious reason, the lady are not allowed to be on the street. Right? So anyway, this is just a small episode while we are traveling to this town, Karimabad. And now I'm going to share with you more images of the view of this Karimabad. And you can see the arrows pointing to a place, a building that's circled in yellow color. This is actually the hotel that we stay. It was right at the top of a hill, and hence you can see that the surrounding of this hotel, all around that you can see are snow-capped mountain range, and this basically one of the perfect spot for taking a picture. I'm glad that we have been placed in this hotel to stay for 3 nights, and we have ample time to take a lot morning and evening shot of these mountains around us. So this is the name of the hotels, and in fact this picture was taken on the last day where we are leaving, and you can see that as we stay on the first floor and above, and the ground floor is basically the hotel receptions and the lounge, and therefore we are the buses, our coach there, you can see that they are unloading the luggage right from the first floor, from the balcony area into the top of the bus. More images of the beautiful scenery around this hotel that we stay. The image was taken over a few periods, a few days morning, and at different hours. So you expect to see they are slightly different in terms of the climate change, the lighting and so on will change according to the time of our visit. So you can see the snow-capped mountain was just between view. All these are more than 6,000 meters above sea level. and we have the valley, the village right below the mountains. And of course, what you see in this image at the far end, that is basically the Hunza River. And remember, this is actually the Hunza Valley, which was referred by most tourists. For those mountain lovers, mountain climbers, and trekkers, I believe that this place will not disappoint you, as you can find many trekking trails available, and some of them will only take a day or two. Some will take a much longer time, but it depends on your body fitness, physical fitness of you. So. You can see one of the later peak, one sharp peak on the right hand side of this image. They call it the Ladyfinger Peaks. And even don't underestimate this peak. This peak is also close to 6,000 meters above sea level. And at far on opposite side of the river, of the Hunza River, then we found on the slope of this mountain range, they have some this scripture sign on it itself. I'm not sure whether it's an ancient or it's a recent one, but from the look at it itself, you can find quite a number of these signs appear randomly scattered along some of the slope of the mountain at the foothill area. I believe this image was taken in the afternoons, and it's about sun setting. You can see the angle of the light is running quite horizontally, and you can see the snow caps. And then let's go about this water canal walk. Now we will then asked to walk around in this Karimabad town, and then we were told that we are taking a water canal walk, and we asked why you name this as a water canal walks. Then they explained to me that this water canal, or they call it the Ultar Sar water canal, which comprises of 7 canals flowing towards the west and 5 flowing eastwards from the headwork on the Nara taking off of the different level are utilized for irrigation. In other words, this village at Karimabad are being transected with many water channels, and these water channels are serving the water supply for the crops for the purpose of irrigation. And as this is actually cover most of the rural area, right, and cover the entire Karimabad town, and we will have a chance to walk through this, follow the canal. There's a road built next to the canal. We are literally walking on the village path, right, and we have a chance to enjoy the view of the village. And by walking through this, we will then have to enjoy. We will be able to enjoy the scenic beauty of the Hunza Valley, and some canals pass through the Karimabad town, and some are flowing out further away. But the water flowing in the canal is also attractive, as it has a various colors caused by the minutes contact of the fine mica particle. Now, because I think while walking on this part of the water canal, we found that actually the sand, or I may not even call it sand, is so fine, and it seems to be very dusty. It's very close to some sort of like volcano dusting like that, but it was actually grayish in color, dark grayish in color. It was scattered. So as you walk, you find that actually you can see from image. I will share with you now. But the canal is right on your left, and because of these dust-like particles, and will fall into the was in the waters, and you can see the waters is actually toward grayish color, and the entire walking path is quite dusty or sandy, I would like to call it. Right? See more image of that, but it's quite shady in the sense because you actually you are embraced by tree on both ends, on both sides of the trail. As usual, any journey you take, or any path or trail you take in this Karimabad itself, you expect to see all the mountains views all around you, because I say that Karimabad are surrounded by many 6,000 meter above mountains peaks at 4 directions. And they also have quite a number of homestay or lodge or hotels scattered along the Hunza Valley, and with a very beautiful surroundings. Right? So putting a stay in Karimabad will never a mistake, I would say. It's never a mistake. We also passing by, as I say, we are walking through a village, and we have village houses on both sides. And one interesting about the housing here, the villagers will build their own house, and the moment you can see from this image, why the floor above is still under constructions, but the floor below, the ground floor, have completed. The people start moving to stay. Although the first floor is still under constructions, which is allowed in this part of the world. But back to Malaysia, if a house is not fully completed, constructed, completed, in all aspects, you are allowed to stay in, but not in this part of the world. Right? So the construction is still on the upper floor, the lower floor is staying in with people. So these are some of the villages that we met along the way. And the kids, right? They are very friendly, and you can see that they keep a lot of these dry stuff to feed their animals. And this is one of the hotels nearby where we have our lunch there. It's a steep, located steep down deep into the valley, and we had to walk quite a distance to reach this hotel. And have beautiful gardens. For nature lover, I also believe that you will like this place very much. So more scenery around Karimabad. As I say that day is a perfect place, a picturesque town picturesque town for all the beautiful mountains of the world. Of course, for scenery of this kind, of course, it's best to visit during the month of October, during the autumns, and not the early autumns, but the middle or late autumns. But when you're coming in the month of November, then you expect the weather will be much cooler, particularly at night. During our visit happened to be also a season for apples harvesting, and we bump across these places where they gather all the apples and they're packing them for export to other towns. Freshly picked apples. So this will be the end of this episode, where strictly I'm just sharing with you the images, the scenery around this Karimabad, which was surrounded by many 6,000 meter above mountain peaks, and as well as walking in the village, and passing through some beautiful village house, and also at the same time enjoying a walk in his famous shopping street in this old Karimabad town. In the next episode, I will then bring you to the more on the historical aspect of the Karimabad and also in Hunza Valley. We'll be covering like those Baltic forts, for example, and Ganesh Valley, a village that have more than 1,000 years old. So please stay tuned for the next episode to come, and from now on I shall continue on the weekly interval to cover all my travelogue for this northern Pakistan, and thereafter I will then move on to some interesting travels within Malaysia in this case, particularly just for your info, we cover the East Malaysia, the state of Sarawak. Please stay tuned until we see each other again, and bye.